Boris Johnson's bold Brexit move has worked, with state aid rules which Michel Barnier is trying to push on the UK already shot to pieces, a former Greek finance minister has said. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson has said the EU will attempt to carve up the UK if rebel MPs block his controversial internal market bill, in a stark warning as Brexit tensions reach fever pitch. Yanis Varoufakis, asked on BBC Radio 4 as the row over Mr. Johnson's internal market bill rumbles on, whether a deal would happen, said, "It is highly possible, but whether it's likely I am not sure." The one good thing that came about from the provocation from London regarding Article 4 of the Protocol, the challenging of the withdrawal agreement, is that minds have been focused on the continent on the serious possibility of a no deal, and that increases the possibility of a deal, however paradoxical that may seem. At roughly the same time, Mr. Varoufakis also tweeted about bloc-wide changes to the rules to enable countries to offer financial support to companies in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. He said, "This relaxation is going to be permanent and will extend well beyond financing airlines at all. Mergers are already underway that violate EU competition policy," asked Ms. Vestager, the European Commissioner in charge of competition. The state aid and competition rule book that Barnier is pushing on the UK has been shred to pieces. Mr. Johnson insists the legislation, which will override parts of the withdrawal agreement he signed last year, is required to end EU threats to install a blockade in the Irish Sea. The move has caused considerable disquiet in Westminster, not least among his own backbenchers, with Bob Neill, MP for Bromley and Chislehurst, putting forward an amendment which would effectively veto the bill. The Prime Minister said failure to implement the bill would allow Brussels to carve up our country and seriously endanger peace and stability in Northern Ireland. Writing in The Telegraph, Mr. Johnson claimed the bloc would to impose a full-scale trade border down the Irish Sea which could stop the transport of food from Britain to Northern Ireland. He added, "I have to say that we never seriously believed that the EU would be willing to use a treaty, negotiated in good faith, to blockade one part of the UK, to cut it off. Or that they would actually threaten to destroy the economic and territorial integrity of the UK." Negotiators led by David Frost had learned there may be a serious misunderstanding about the terms of the deal Mr. Johnson signed in October. Mr. Johnson claimed the withdrawal agreement had been agreed during torrid days with the Brexit deadline fast approaching while negotiating with one hand tied behind our back as a result of Parliament blocking a no deal. He added, "If we fail to pass this bill, or if we weaken its protections, then we will in fact reduce the chances of getting that Canada-style deal."